So, rather than another day and a half of exploring, I instead had nearly 36 hours confined to my room with just views of the beach and a vow to return to have the trip I should have had. It's November 2021, and 21 months after my original attempt, I'm back on Lanzarote to have that trip I should have had. Lanzarote is the fourth largest of the Canary Islands and has the third largest population. It's also the most northern and eastern of the 7 main islands that make up the archipelago. Costa Teguise is a purpose-built resort town located on the northeast coast of Lanzarote, set around 4 natural beaches. Apart from the beaches, the only other main attraction in town is the aquarium, which houses a number of species, both local to the Canary Islands as well as from further afield. The largest tank houses a number of species, including sharks and rays. Whilst the obligatory walk-through tank houses some smaller sharks. Just 6 kilometres away from Costa Teguise is one of the island's most important buildings, the Fundación César Manrique. The foundation was set up in 1982 by the Lanzarote artist César Manrique and a group of friends. The artist, sculptor and nature activist was born in Arrecife in 1919, and his connection with the island spanned his whole life. He moved to Madrid in 1945 and lived in New York between 1964 and 1966, before returning to Lanzarote in that year. His idea was to create an artist colony on the island, and with the help of a childhood friend, who also happened to be present at the island at the time, was able to realise the idea. Manrique committed himself to preserving the island from the worst of the tourism boom that had inflicted the concrete mega hotels on the mainland costas, and as a result of his work, the island has, on the whole, retained a low-rise and traditional feel, with very few buildings more than a couple of stories high. His work also included a number of wind sculptures that sit on roundabouts across the island, as well as being involved in the creation of display of several major tourist sites, including the visitor centre at Timanfaya and the Jameos del Agua. But one of his most famous works is the foundation itself. Originally his home, he built it amongst the lava fields from the Timanfya eruptions, digging down into the lava tubes and volcanic bubbles to create underground spaces beneath the traditionally styled house at ground level. Manrique was killed in a car crash close to the foundation in 1992, and soon after his death, his former home was opened as a visitor site to see his work. On the centenary of his birth in 2019, the airport was officially renamed César Manrique Lanzarote Airport. One of the best ways of seeing the island is to take an organised tour that covers the three top sites, the Timanfaya National Park, Cueva de los Verdes and the Jameos del Agua. First stop on the tour is the Timanfaya National Park, where you learn up close that, despite the last eruption being nearly 300 years ago, the land is still very hot. So hot that brush pressed against the rock can ignite. And water poured down into the ground is instantly turned into a steam geyser. The main part of the visit is a 30-minute drive through the landscape left by the eruptions. Eruptions took place between 1730 and 1736, and the resulting lava field covered over 50 square kilometres of land. Due to the very dry climate in Lanzarote, almost 300 years later, the only visible life that's returned to the scorched land is lichen, though the cracks in the rocks do provide home to many other species. The landscape formed by the cooled molten lava and tiny volcanic grains is like something from another planet. The tour around the site is accompanied by a pre-recorded commentary which tells you a little about the eruptions and how the locals at the time dealt with what they thought was a gateway to hell opening up amongst them. After Timanfya and a stop for lunch, the next site is the Cueva de los Verdes. The cave system was formed from an even earlier volcanic eruption. Around 3,000 years ago, the nearby volcano Monte Corona erupted, sending lava flowing across the landscape. As the outer layers of lava began to cool, they formed a solid rock crust, but the inside, the molten lava continued to flow. Eventually, the lava flow stopped, leaving behind empty tubes that stretched from the mountain out into the sea. Over time, in places, parts of the outer crust have collapsed, creating entranceways into the system, and the largest section of these is the Cueva de los Verdes, which can be explored with a guide. Almost 2 kilometres of path exists within the space that was left behind when the lava stopped flowing. In earlier centuries, the caves were used as a hiding space by the locals to protect themselves from pirates and slave raiders. In the 1960s, the space was developed further for tourism, with light displays, sounds, and a concert hall all being added into the space. Around 800 metres close to the sea, but not connected to the Cuevas de los Verdes, is another set of lava tube caves, the Jameos del Agua. Unlike the Cueva de los Verdes, which are totally dry, the Jameos del Agua have a connection to the sea, creating a lake inside the lava tube that links the two openings. Due to the ecology of the cave and lake, a unique species of tiny blind lobster has made its home in the water. The space was adapted by César Manrique, with bars being added, paths being created, and even a full-sized concert hall being added into one of the caves. On the top, a signature Manrique pool was added. Alongside the 3 main attractions of the island, you can also take a day tour that explores more of the south of Lanzarote. After picking up, the first stop on the tour is a former volcano at El Golfo. Part of the original crater of the volcano has been eroded away by the sea over the centuries, so today you can stand inside the partial crater itself and make out the curve of the caldera walls. In the base, there's still a small lagoon of fresh water, coloured green by algae blooming within it, separated by a narrow strip of black sand from the blue sea. Three kilometres to the south, at Los Hervideros, you can see one of the points where the lava from the Timanfya eruption hit the sea. At the time of eruption, this has created clouds of toxic steam, as well as forming significant amounts of new land. The next stop on the tour is back into the Timanfaya National Park and close to the site of the main eruption to experience the park in a different way. On the back of a dromedary. There are over 500 camels living in the park, and they're used to carry tourists up through the volcanic sand slopes of some of the lower parts of the volcano to take in a different view of the land. After the Camels, the tour has a repeat of a stop at Timanfya to see the steam geyser and take the drive through the volcanic landscape, before heading to lunch in the town of Majapalomas and then finishing at a wine museum in Mustache. Going slightly further afield, it's an easy day trip via shuttle bus and boat across the neighbouring island of La Graciosa. Once on La Graciosa, I took one of the 4x4 taxi tours that take you around the northern part of the island, from the island's capital and harbour at Caleta del Sebo to the summer-only settlement of Casas de Pedro Barba. And then onto the beautiful sandy beach of Playa de la Conchas, where you can see the islands of Montana Clara and Alegranza. Next stop is the Playa Lambra. Before stopping at the Mirador Baja de la Majapalomas, the remnants of an earlier volcanic eruption that have left a lava bridge and canyon on the edge of the land the sea flows into. Then the tour returns to Caleta del Sebo. From there you can walk through the interior of the island, heading towards the south. I stopped at the Playa Francesa. From there I was able to look across the sea to the beach at Caleta di Famara on Lanzarote. "21 months on from when I stood in Famara looking back at La Graciosa, I felt I now had the trip that I should have had then." Lanzarote Airport, just south of Arrecife, has regular links to much of Europe and lots of inter-island connections to the other Canary Islands.